really still like going to tape. I don't like tape. I really never did. I mean, I wouldn't mind having one with, a tape machine for an effect, to.
I got a Studer you can buy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What? How many tracks?
24.
Is it? Can I just buy
800 Mark III.
Can I buy 8 of them?
Yeah. Yes.
It's fun to hear that saturation, but to have everything going, it just changes things too much. So that's my perspective, is it changes things too much.
Well,
but everybody else says, well, I want it to change, but I don't. When I get my sounds and I'm listening to them, I'm mixing, I don't want to put it to tape and have it come back any different at all.
When tape was the only option,
Yeah.
every single drum tracking session, you got your sounds with the machine on input. You'd get super excited. You go, great, let me record some of this so the drummer can check it out. You'd hit record, you'd rewind, put the machine in repro and go, shit. And then you would change your drum sound based on what the tape had just done to the thing that you thought was awesome. And then you do it again, and then you compromised.
Yeah.
But now tape is magic fairy dust, which is cool.
Yeah, I know. Do you know John Paterno, my assistant at the Sound Factory for a number of years, used to have him sit when it's getting a drum sound and play off. And unfortunately it would be, no, did we do the repro hit? I think we did. Have the drummer take his headphones off, play back while he's playing, and sit there with the bias and
Get it
tweak
right.
the bias on the kick drum channel while we're doing that. But you can never get it where it was actually the sound that I liked,
And
that I
that's
had off the
15
disc.
SR. Sorry,
That was
15 amp Dolby SR.
15 SR and really quite modest levels. I
So
printed
the least
one.
amount of tape that you could possibly
Yeah.
have while using tape.
Yeah. Anyway, so but it's up to you. That's just my perspective. It's Andrew's perspective. So if you love tape, go for it.
It smells good.
Yeah, you're right. It does smell
That,
good.
when you open up a new reel at 2-inch and put
That
it up
was
on the
fun.
machine to roll it backwards, that great.
Yeah. And when you're done with the tape and nobody can use it, or it's, great Christmas decorations.
Yes. Dried
Was that a
oranges
dad
and,
joke?
and 2-inch tape.
That was a bad dad joke, wasn't it? Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah.
Should get a third mic. I'm just,
What
I'm
about?
not trying to make people scramble. I was joking because I didn't know if there was one. There might be one. All right, see, this is your exercise. Okay, sorry.
How about monitoring headphones, speakers? Do you mix in just one pair, 2 pairs? Do you check on headphones? Which one?
Me first?
Yeah, because I have less to say about that.
I use a pair of old Tannoys that I really like, and I got 4 pairs of them because if they blow up too much, you can't fix them. But I actually mix in headphones about 90% of the time now because I had to.
90%?
About 90. I check each record just to make sure I'm not being stupid.
Yeah.
And I use Sony 7506s. They're on Amazon, and that way when they wear out, you just buy. I mean, they've been making them for 30 years now or something. Sound exactly the same.
Wow.
I've just gotten really used to it.
Wow. That's
Well, because
I
where my
find that
speakers,
really impressive.
for a couple of years, where my speakers was set up was nice, but it was really cold, and I couldn't do anything about that. It was in
Yeah.
the caravan.
Yeah.
So the view was amazing, but it was fucking freezing, and I didn't want to be in there all day. So I'd work at home, and then I'd go up with the laptop,
Yeah.
pop it on the speakers, and whatever sounded weird, then I'd make sure I could still hear that weirdness in the headphones, and then I'd fix it.
I remember coming over to your house to show you, because I had bought the Odyssey LCDX headphones, which I really love. I can't finalize a mix on it, and in fact my EQing doesn't, I can't quite do that. I can do balances, and once I get the sounds and everything, but I always got to check on my speakers. But I came over to play these headphones, and I remember playing, man, guy, you got to hear these. And he plugged them into his mix. He had his mix coming up. What it was the Hoosier thing?
It was a Hoosier track. It's a funny story. You finish your part.
Yeah, and he was playing it on the speakers, and I'm going, wow, this sounds fucking good, And I plugged the headphones in, And I listened to him, I said, wow, that sounds great on these headphones. I'm really thinking my headphones. I give them to him. He gets them on his head. He goes, oh, too dull. And then I put on his headphones and it's ripping my head off. I mean, it really is like...
They're really bright
They're
headphones.
so bright. But the interesting thing is if I do a mix on my LCDXs, as they are, and low level, not listening real loud. If I turn it up, it's better, but if I do it kind of conversational level, which is quite low for mixing, then my mix comes out really heavy on 3K and up. Super bright. So if I used your headphones,
You'd be all set.
that wouldn't happen.
No.
I think. Doesn't that sound logical?
And that mix was one of the few things where I thought, man, I want to play this for Chad. Like, I actually thought it sounded really cool. It was
is?
like real Bill Withersy
Yeah.
rhythm section, James Gadsden stuff, and they didn't use it. That's not what he wanted at all.
You're kidding.
No. But that wasn't
Yeah.
the headphones' fault. That was my fault.
But anyway, the speaker thing, that's insane.
Yeah.
The speaker thing. I've had the same speakers since about 2006 or 7. They don't make them anymore. They don't even repair them anymore. So I'm kind of screwed, although not quite as screwed as I was because I bought Maxes. But there is a company in Glasgow called Lin Audio. They're a high-end audiophile stereo company. They're the people that sell stuff like 1,000-pound AC cables, like that kind of shit.
Not weight, money. But weight,
Yeah, money.
probably weight as well.
Yeah, like $2,000 cable. And they decided to go into the pro market, and they made a speaker called the 328A. And they're big, 45 kilos a piece, triamps. I think there's a three driver array in the middle and 2 big woofers, and it's got a feedback system, so the lower level you go, the more low frequency energy it pumps into them. And the response, I can hear 40, and I can hear that when I turn it down, it doesn't change. That low end doesn't go away, and I'm not using a subwoofer. So that's all I've used. That's it. I don't have a secondary. There are some computer speakers, but I rarely ever go to them. Have fun. You can't get those speakers anymore. They're great. But you know something? The brand of speaker, this doesn't matter. It's just a starting point for you, okay? But the important thing is that the speakers work with your ear-brain combination. It could be NS10s. Bob Clearmountain has been mixing on NS10s for 50 years. And,
To the point where, because he was the guy who put toilet paper over the tweeters when they first came out, and Mix Magazine did an article shooting out the frequency response of different brands of toilet paper.
I know, I heard of it. Well, he was saying yesterday he got shit for that, right? But I asked him, because I said my theory about it was that, because I read the literature, I don't look like the guy that might do that, but I read the literature. And there is a difference, the curve, like with their grill cloths, they came with a grill cloth, right? In S10s. So if you take it off, the tweeters are no longer tuned the way they meant them to be tuned. So he was finding that, because we all had to look. You can't hear low end on it. We had to look at the woofers. We had to be able to see the woofers and see the excursion of it to know how our low end was. So we didn't use subwoofers back then, nothing like that.
Why did we all think that was a good idea to use these speakers? I'm wondering.
Because the components were readily available.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's so weird to describe the speakers of, well, you couldn't leave the grill cloth on because you had to see them physically to know what the low end was doing, so you put some toilet paper on them, but man, they were great speakers.
Well, somehow they worked. I mean, I don't know why. One of those
Like
lots
with
of things
Bob.
in the world like that. these
Exactly,
days.
but that worked with Bob's brain, and he's
Yeah.
absolutely one of the best mixers ever born.
Yes, he created the grill cloth. He just put that on there, and it brought that top end down just enough. So anyway, find your speakers that can say it's a good speaker. Everybody's ears are different. They don't have to cost a lot. I mean, they don't have to.
No.
More questions? Any questions? Yes? Yeah, yes.
He's running.
Yeah, my knee is seizing up again.
How do you guys feel about like using SonarWorks or something that takes your speakers and reads the room if you're in a less than ideal room? Is that something that you do?
I haven't tried it on speakers. I tried it on headphones, and they've got a curve built in for those Sonys, and it's scary and actually confirms everything I know is wrong about the Sonys.
Okay.
But I tried it correcting, but I'm so used to what they sound like that it totally screwed me up. So yeah, making them flat, they were flat, but I apparently don't like flat.
Okay. I'm getting ready to try it because, actually, this is the man. Javi, do you want to say something about it? No? You don't want to say anything about it?
The technology is great because you can shoot your own speakers, and like it makes absolute perfect sense. I think for me, I'm so used to the thing that changing anything is not a good idea for my
Javi
brain.
says he's been using it, and it's really changed his mixing. He was having trouble, with the outside world, and his mixing and on headphones, and he's using the LCDXs as well in his home studio, and it's totally changed everything for him in a positive way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no inherent problem with it. It's not like it's a 60-band EQ and there's phase shift and weirdness. Like it sounded absolutely fine. It just didn't make sense to the way I listened to stuff.
Did you try it after a little mezcal?
Oh yeah.
Did you? Oh,
Actually,
a few of them.
no. But about 8 pints of beer.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Well, tired though. Mezcal doesn't make you tired.
Yeah, it's Mexican joint lube, according to Joe Barresi.
It's what?
Mexican joint lube.
It's good for what ails you.
It is.
More questions? All the way back here. Oh, okay.
Look at that. Oh. Hold on. It's coming.
Hello.
Hi.
I may have missed this, but with the NS10s being discontinued, how do you guys keep up with the maintenance for the NS10s?
Oh, well, we don't.
I don't. I still own a pair, but I don't use them, so they don't wear out.
Oh, sorry, I came late, so I thought you guys were using them. That's
Well,
why.
no, but there are companies making replacement drivers for them now.
Yeah, there is.
But if you haven't modified your NS10s to have a fuse for the tweeter, then you absolutely do. That will save many components because you just blow a fuse instead of blowing the component.
Interesting.
There's some people that say that changes the sound, but I never noticed it.
It's wire. I mean,
It's a wire, but
Yeah. A fuse is a piece of wire, so that's some knowledge, by the way, if you didn't know
yeah, but
that.
sometimes it's a little piece of wire.
Sometimes
and,
it is.
and then some other times it's a big piece of wire.
That's true. That's true.
What changes it more? I don't know.
I don't know.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, there are people making components for them now because. But apparently, the reason Yamaha stopped making them is because there was some crazy wood that was involved in making the woofers. To make that cardboard, it came from some tree that it was devastating the environment where that tree came from, which was only in one place in the world. And I'm not making up that I heard that, but maybe it was made up when it was told to me. But that's what I was told, because they were still super popular speakers when they stopped making them. And it just, they couldn't source, there you go. So they just couldn't source the wood without destroying something. So, socially conscious.
What a great company.
They was woke.
It is woke, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Here?
So I actually have a set of NS10s with the fuse that was added before I owned them, and they sound just as bad as the without the fuse. So
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
Okay.
So either way,
Good to know.
I don't think it makes a sound difference. This is a little off audio topic, but I'm a fan of the Latin Playboys records.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to work with the Los Lobos guys again in the future?
Well, you know-
Can you make it happen? That stuff is brilliant.
I'll tell you, there's been some, there has been talk, and there was talk about releasing a live record, and in fact, Latin Playboys got offered a fair amount of money to go play a one-off show in Hawaii. But it's so difficult getting everybody in the same place. And also, I might be a little bit of a stick in the mud about it, but it was a real moment, you know? And I'd like to keep it as that moment and not have it be a worse moment than it was a really good moment, you know? So I don't know what would happen if we all tried to do that again.
So is that kick drum sound on the Latin Playboys record the one that you talk about that you put a sample in, or is that just a live kick drum sound?
No, that's live with Sans Amp a bit. But also you have to understand where that came from. Those things were recorded on cassette at a slow speed, and they had tons of. That's all it had was low end. You know, it was like on a cassette. And then I had to do a lot of trickery processing with Sans Amp, phase reversal, dropping the pitch, EQ, gating.
It's a great sound.
If
Yeah,
you
I
don't
love
know the Latin Playboys records, you need to listen to them. It's the only thing you need to write down from all of this. Seriously. The life-changing records. If you want to be an engineer and know what's possible and how to mix musically, that's it.
And that was Incredible Imitations. 4-track cassette. And it was broken. Leakage between tracks that had to be multed and then filtered and then flipped phase to get off one track and then put the bass on the other track. So you only heard it coming from one track. And then there was so much noise on the thing. It's not like we thought, let's make this an atmospheric record with ambient sounds. It was, oh my God, the noise on the bass track is like, and the bass is. So instead of trying to get rid of it, which I couldn't, I just added more noise. Like ambience, you know, like at a waterfall or water stream going down. So that noise became a stream going by, you know. That's how that came about. It wasn't any grand design. It was, besides David Hidalgo's grand design, he played everything on that record. Yeah. We added a few things in the end, but it's 80% David Hidalgo late at night in his kitchen with
Mezcal.
Well, I think there were some tablets involved in that one, maybe.
It's also kind of a companion to the Kiko record, wouldn't you say?
Well, when we finished Kiko, we all had such a great time. It was really an inspiring record to work on. We were all on the same page. Mitchell and I thought we weren't ever going to have a job again because record companies hated us. We were calling ourselves Kiss of Death Productions, and we thought, you know, if we're going to be out of a job, let's go down in flames, you know. So, and Los Lobos were like, yeah, us too, you know. So, Kiko was really fun in the studio. It was a joy, every minute of it. A lot of food too. It was really good. After that, David was inspired. He didn't want it to stop. So he started recording in his kitchen and in his garage with just stuff that he had hanging around. And he recorded all these pieces of music. No lyrics, no idea for lyrics, nothing like that. And he gave the tape to Mitchell. Mitchell played it for me, and I went, there's no way to recreate this. It's not possible that you can ever do this again and have it be good. So we looked at finding a way to make it work off the cassette. And it took us, we went into the studio, we spent 13 days fixing, writing lyrics, overdubbing, and then mixing. And that's the record. And then Lenny Waronker said, I gotta have it, let's put it out. Go figure. Who would do that now? Nobody. So yeah, it's a special record for us. Over here, yeah, thanks. Once again, hands up.
How about room acoustics? How important are your room acoustics for mixing if you're not mixing on headphones?
Well, that's the cool thing about headphones. You're wearing your studio on your head. So,
Do you want to talk about room ambiance? Ambiance, maybe?
For me, I think the deader the better. I want to hear my speakers. I don't want to hear the room when I'm mixing, no matter what I'm doing.
I've always liked dead rooms, like style, carpet in the back and all.
A living room with a bunch of furniture in it is like the perfect mix room to me.
Yeah, my studio doesn't have any special treatment by a professional. I'm certainly not a professional for that. I just put up some half rounds above me so it helps dissipate like high frequencies because I have hard surfaces up there. I'm also turned at an angle in the room, which is kind of weird, but it's the only way I can do it. A lot of rugs on the floor, and then stuff on the walls, but not any treatment, just things hanging. Anything will do. So, but I really only spent a day doing it, and then it didn't sound great, but I've just learned the room. I didn't want to. I spent money. I've done it. I've done that. I've spent 15 grand having somebody do a room, and it didn't sound as good as what I can do. So.
It's also a good side effect of only using one pair of speakers. Because I think for both of us, we know exactly what the speakers are supposed to sound like. So when you have to move them somewhere else, you know the problem is the room. So you almost intuitively start fixing the room by moving around until it sounds like your speakers again, and then you just work.
There's always some sort of, it's not usually 100% comfortable. You just got to learn your environment a bit. Yeah. It's just doing it a lot. We've mixed so many hundreds and hundreds. Do you think it's in thousands yet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, why not say that?
Thousands.
Thousands of songs.
mixed
Thousands of
thousands of
mixes.
songs.
Well, mixes, yes.
One mix, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Thousands.
And that's the only way you really learn, except coming to mix with the masters and seeing the process. You'll learn a lot of that stuff. And so many things some of the questions won't be relevant anymore. It's really about flow and watching how somebody approaches the work, not necessarily what they use. Yeah? That's why this is such a worthwhile thing. Here's a question here. Here? Yeah, I can do. Oh, no, she's not there. She's gone. Thank you.
Just a question about low end. When I try to tackle low end, you hear so many different things like cutting off all the frequencies 80 below entirely, but I found that kind of takes away the fatness and full of a mix. And I've also heard methods and have tried EQing just a low end out of multiple tracks, out of multiple instruments, but that introduces phasing issues. So I'm curious, in your opinion, what's the best way to approach getting rid of that low end, but still maintaining that full bodiness so that it translates well between systems?
Well, I think it depends on the song, of course, what you're going to go with the low end. Let's just take what the most common thing would be is that you really want the low end to come from either the bass guitar and have some punch, higher punch. That's what most people like. I'm the opposite. I like I'm the last question. I'm the opposite. I like having the low end sub come from the kick drum, and then the bass guitar take it from 60 up or something, 60 hertz up or something. And guitars and stuff, anything that you find that's not adding to the track that you don't need, get rid of it. It sounds like it's up a little too high though. I wouldn't be getting rid of bass drums or anything at 80.
Right. That just takes away.
Yeah, that's too high. You need some stuff down there at 50, 40, if you can.
But you also got to realize whatever you use on your mix bus, how it reacts to low end. Because most compressors, if they don't have a high pass on the detector, they love low end and will squash the crap out of your mix as soon as you've got some sub.
Yeah.
So you've got to know that and know how to work around it, and that's just whether don't put the sub in until after the compressor or something. Find ways around it, or use different compressors, or high pass the detector, or something.
Yeah.
But you can't just worry about the kick track when you're trying to figure out the low end on the mix. It's everywhere it goes along the way. And we're done.
We're done.
Chad,
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chad Blake.
Thanks for coming up. Helping me out. Thanks everybody.